Melly's court hearing just revealed his new release date, as he's going against his lawyer's advice to be released early. The news wrote, "Today's hearing marks the first time Melly publicly went against his legal team's advisement in open court, as Melly was seen yelling at his lawyers. Yes, sir. Against our advice, our client wants to proceed. You objected that you're requesting me to return this automatic slave based upon what our client has instructed us. Yes, sir. As the evidence they are arguing is about his gang association. As Melly was yelling at his lawyers saying that he doesn't care. People inside of the courtroom overheard it, and they even quoted Melly saying, "I don't care. I'm not in no gang." They can't prove that. 7-1 call for an automatic save, while they were aggravators. They go to membership, and again they were things that the jury would have to find before going into penalty. Not aggravated the death aggravator unless the gang can't accept it on her charge. He was charged in committing the murder for the gang, which is an aggravator in terms of the something that they would have to find by way of interrogating. The reason Melly doesn't care if the evidence is included or not is because if his lawyers gets that evidence thrown out, the paperwork that comes alongside it will make the trial begin in 2027. Meaning that Melly will have been sitting in jail for 7 to 9 years before being convicted of the crime. I do find this case to be under most here today has been arresting for 239. Besides Mr. cases which I've removed. This division currently has 38 other cases special set for trial. 22 of those are cases. Numerous of those are cases, and right now this division has draw special set in December of 2026. However, the state wants this trial to be delayed once again so they can ensure all the evidence they want to use against Melly is allowed to use, as they want to make sure Melly is sentenced to life in prison on the second trial. And finally, Judge, just so again the record's clear, what this given Judge Murphy's order, and there would be an intent to comply with it. What the court is compelling the state to do is to go forward with evidence that has been suppressed. In other words, we would not be able to use that evidence. You can't, right? It's suppressed. That's exactly correct. As of now, the attorneys could go to the appellate court and request that they issue a stay or place a hold on the trial. And that seems to be the only way that this trial does not move forward on the scheduled date. So, if that doesn't happen, Melly trial number 2 will begin in about 2 months. Now, this would get the attention of Melly's mother, who would then go on Instagram Live with the final decision on when the trial will begin. Basically, what happened today is the judge has said, "We are not delaying trial. We will be going to trial September 10th. Even though there's things that's up with the 4th DCA that has been ruled to be suppressed and not able to be used in the upcoming trial, the judge is just upholding those orders. So therefore, all of the basically what was up on appeal was all of that stuff, what they were using as an enhancer in order to get the death penalty qualified. The judge ordered all of that to be suppressed. So, moving forward onto the new trial, the state will not be able to bring in that evidence. As at the end of the hearing, Melly's lawyers would then ask for a bond release until trial in September. Sadly, Melly would be denied. As the news wrote, Melly's reaction after not receiving a bond for the M case. He's been in jail for 2,320 days without a guilty verdict. Now, Melly was denied for one specific reason, and it's all related to the prosecutor's insurance plan. And let me explain. They made an entire evidence file to ensure Melly sits in jail until trial begins, sharing with the judge the most incriminating evidence against Melly. It was announced the prosecutors updated the evidence file against Melly. He didn't know that he was filmed admitting to the murder of Sackchaser and Juvie were only 5 hours after the crime was done. Melly was filmed dancing in a parking lot with Bortland. Music. Applause. Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turn still. Hey, the dog still turned regardless of what happened. You already know. Showing not even an ounce of sadness for the passing of their 2 best friends. However, without his knowledge, he was then filmed once again. This time, 30 minutes before the crime was committed, Melly was seen exiting the studio, sitting directly in the back left seat, getting ready for Sackchaser Juvie and Bortland to get inside the Jeep. Excuse me, you able to see? Yes. All right. Why this is so important is because the official court documents read, The direction of bullets traveling from left to right in the car supports the claim that they originated from the back left seat, where YNW Melly was positioned, as the prosecutors then even got YNW Juvy's mother to confirm he was sitting there. Can you state your name? Your full name for the jury? Leon. And are you related to one of the in this case? Yes, I am. How? Mother. And who is that? Christopher Thomas. Miss Phillips. Did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that great gray Jeep? Yes. Do you recognize where your son entered that green Jeep? Yes. Which seat, if you can identify for the jury? He got in the back seat on the right-hand side. Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side? Yes. And who was that individual? Jay. But this wouldn't be the only evidence they brought to the courtroom. What they did next was so disturbing many believe the Florida court system is corrupt, as they were able to persuade Melly's ex-girlfriend Mariah Hamilton and YNW Bortland to make a deal with them. And let me explain. Mariah was hiding out of the United States since before Melly's original trial. They have evidence that Melly allegedly either forced her or paid her to leave the United States, so then she could not testify against him. But after years of being outside of the USA, she wanted to return to see family, and she was arrested at the airport. Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in DeMond's first trial in 2023. She was having an extremely rough time inside a jail, which is why when she entered her first court hearing, she immediately made a deal with the judge. The judge told her, "If you agree to testify against Melly and tell the truth of what really happened to Sack Chaser and Juvie, then you're free to go." She accepted it instantly, making this the worst news possible for YNW Melly, as immediately when she got on the outside, she would write to Facebook and to my village, "Thank you to my village. I love you all so much. God's plan, not mine." This is very important as the feds found disturbing evidence in Mariah's iCloud account relating to Melly forcing her to not testify in the original trial. This is known as witness tampering. And the moment she says that this is real, Melly will be sentenced to life in prison. The state filing 6 new charges against Dummins and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction. The scariest part is the witness tampering charge is going to be separate from the 2M charges that he is facing. This means that if he is found guilty of just witness tampering and found not guilty of Sadisur and Juvie's passings, YNW Melly will still be sentenced to life inside of prison. But what's even scarier is the feds have not allowed YNW Melly to use a jail phone now for several months. It got so bad his mother Jamie King even went an interview exposing the county jail for not allowing him to use a phone. "My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use his telephone. They have a right to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones to receive their mail. They hold his mail. They don't give it to him." This would end up meaning that the feds have evidence that YNW Melly was using the jail phone to commit witness tampering. They wouldn't just keep him off of the phones if it was a hunch, as that would end up resulting in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. As when you combine this with what YWBM, BM, Mortland will do to YNW Melly, this is where it gets truly bad. What you didn't know is that Melly's lawyer already tried pinning this against Bortland on the first day of the original trial. Those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital Meyer, and you don't see him sitting there, but where you will sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with 2 bodies car riddled with. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, had a residue due on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, "Everybody has a phone in their pocket," not Cortland Henry. As that was YNW Melly's own lawyer telling the feds and the judge, it was YNW Bortland that was always lying to the feds. He was the one with powder residue on his hands.